what is AJ doing? How do you even get started in like promoting? Do you just like try to find like a random boss? You're like, hey man, let me promote you. I'll do like some
Yeah.
social
So
media stuff,
I
try to
mean,
get you up, or like
so no,
how do you do it?
luckily for me, I've been around it for long enough that I understand how to build guys up. I understand how to make certain fights and stuff like that. So um, to become a promoter, you just obviously you need to have the capital to do a show because you're paying for the venue, you're paying for the seats and the DJs and the judges and everything else. And so there's that aspect of it. And then on the matchmaker part, it's you get your you go in front of whatever state commission that you have. So like I got licensed in Massachusetts and Connecticut. Um, and I can make shows elsewhere, but it's usually if I'm making shows elsewhere, I'm helping out another matchmaker. Um, you get your license, you apply for it, you tell the commission what your experience is, what you know about the sport, you fill out all your applications, and they either approve you or deny you to get a license. Um, as a promoter right now, because we are on the smaller scale, I don't sign anyone because yes, even though I could be losing out on a future stud, I could also be obligated to a guy who's a dud, and a
Mm,
dud is somebody who doesn't pan out to be what you thought he was. And once you sign that person, you're obligated to them. So like if I sign him as if I'm your promoter and I sign you to a contract, and in your contract it says I have to give you 2-3 fights a year, that's what I got to do. And you could be losing me money, but I still got to get you those. That's what's in the contract. So sometimes right now it's good. On a smaller scale, just doing shows, making good fights, and eventually as you make money off those shows, then you start signing people. And
as a promoter, are you paying for the venues and everything like that, or?
yeah, the promoter pays for everything. That's why they get the profits at the end.
Oh, okay.
So they get the ticket sale profits, they get the liquor profits, they get the food profits, the TV if you have TV. Um, they get all that, and then their cut is after they paid everyone.
Gotcha. That's interesting. To be honest, I didn't think that a promoter would be paying for all these different components that it would take to put the fight together. I thought that um, the job of the promoter was just that, to like, promote the fight, get the fight going,
Oh
like,
yeah,
do
no,
that
no, no,
stuff.
they're in charge of the show. It's almost
Yeah.
like on a music scale too, because I am interested in music promoting as well. Um, just throwing a number out there. Let's say I decide I want to bring Chris Brown to my city, and I say, his rate is $100,000, hypothetically speaking. Um, I would pay him his cut, and then after I secured the venue, I put the ticket prices at whatever I want. If I sold, let's just say, what, um, 3,000 tickets at $60 a piece. That would be what, 180,000.
Hmm.
So 180,000. I subtract the 100,000 that I gotta pay Chris Brown, and now I'm left with 80 left over. And out the 80,000, I probably paid another 10 for the venue. So now I give the venue their cut. Now I'm left with 70. Let's say I spent another 5 for promotions. Now I'm at 65.
It keeps going down.
But when it's all said and done, $65,000, and you didn't really do anything. You middleman. You brought a guy to your city to perform because people love the nightlife. People love clubbing. People love parties. You brought this guy to your city, and he performed, does his job, and you made money. It's
And at the
almost,
end, you also got to pay the tax man, right?
yeah. Well, you got to make sure whatever you made at the end. Let's say you took your 65, if whatever your state taxes are, put to the side.
Man, that's intense. I mean, you're also taking a lot of risk, right?
Yeah,
Because
you take a lot of risks because it could be the show could end up being a dud.
if that doesn't pan out, like you could be out money. Yeah, I didn't.
Yeah,
To be honest, I
100%.
when you were saying, obviously, I had somewhat of an understanding, like, oh man, like this could be like a tough time for you to be able to put on shows, but after hearing what it kind of takes to bring this together, I mean, trying to put on a show right now, super scary.
Oh, it would be an absolute nightmare. It would be an absolute nightmare. What makes things a little bit worse as well is um you have fighters need to get medicals in order for them to fight. They need to get um their blood work, their physicals, their EKGs, their CAT scans, their eye exams. And right now, getting appointments in the hospital with the way things are going, that's like, I'm not going to say impossible, but that's not an easy thing to do. Unless it's an emergency, a lot of doctors aren't trying to see you.
Right. What other logistics are there for the fighter besides getting like a checkup and making sure that
So,
they're
so for the fighter, right, let's say you're about to fight for me. This is also, every state's different. Every state commission is different. They all require different things. Um, but let's just say I say to you, um, you're gonna fight this many rounds against this person. Your job aside from training, you gotta sign the contract, get the contract to me in a timely manner. You gotta fill out a application for whatever state you're fighting in. So if you're fighting in Massachusetts, you would be signing a Massachusetts license to get your boxing license in the state of Massachusetts. Your corner, whoever your trainer is, and your cornerman, they also have to get licensed. And then you have to get me a physical signed off by a doctor. You have to get me an eye exam signed off by a doctor, blood work signed off by a doctor, EKG signed off by a doctor, and a CAT scan signed off by a doctor. You get all those things to me, and then I get them to the boxing commission, and they approve you once I get all those things in.
So is that something that you're responsible for financially? Or is that on the boxer?
So on a smaller scale, it's on the boxer. On a larger scale, promoters do cover it. So on a smaller scale, you'll get it because you're not my fighter. I'm not gonna pay for your medicals, and then you could take those medicals and fight elsewhere as well. You gotta invest in yourself early on. Early on for a lot of fighters, which a lot of people think it's all the glitz and the glamour and the huge paydays. Early on, it's a lot of investing in yourself.
So like let's say, so I'm a fighter, I'm up and coming. Like I start training at the gym. I'm like, yo, I want to try to get a fight. Maybe I'll talk to you or somebody else. What should I plan to have to invest outside of like per whatever trainer's gonna be training me for the fight, the gym.
So
What are we talking about after that,
so what
expense wise?
you should obviously have a trainer that you trust. You guys have a connection. That's number one. A trainer that might understand that paydays are small. Trainers get 10% anyway. So if you get a $400 payday, your trainer's getting $40. Because the paydays are small for rounds. Sometimes you might even have to fight for free. Like I've seen guys like tell promoters or even tell me like, hey, just get me on the show. Pay for my opponent. Don't even pay me. And those are people who are willing to invest in themselves because they realize it's a fight, it's active, they get a win, and they climb up. And they keep repeating that same step over and over and over until somebody's like, hey, this guy brings something to the table. Let me sign him.
Oh, gotcha.
And then early on, you're probably investing in your own strength and conditioning. You're investing in your own recovery. You're buying your own medicals. And then that, like I said, that all ends up paying off later on when you get signed
Right.
with.
So what's the quickest you've seen somebody get to an actual payday from
Get to,
start to?
I mean, Vasil Lomachenko fought for a world championship, his second pro fight, but he was also a two-time Olympic gold medalist and had like 390 amateur wins and one loss. So like he's kind of like it. It depends. You know, you have guys that had phenomenal amateur careers that they don't even waste time building themselves up. They're like they jump right into the big show. But I mean, I think Adrian Broner started getting big paydays very quickly. But that was due to his social media presence. You know, he also had like a rap career and stuff like that. Javante Davis fairly quickly as well. Shakur Stevenson, those guys are I can't really say like, you know, who had the most or who got there the fastest because it varies. But I mean, Mike Tyson's the youngest heavyweight champion of all time, so I mean, I'm pretty sure he got there pretty quick too. Mike Tyson was only like 19.
When he went pro?
No, when he won a world championship.
Oh, dang,
He's
19.
the youngest heavyweight champion of all time.
Man, that's crazy.